Welcome everybody to our Weird Wednesday stream here on lichess and Twitch. I'm International Master William Paschall. Astrobay, welcome. Guys, time to get warmed up. I was just running to get to the stream. There's no games in the lobby that meet my criteria. That's extremely unheard of. Maybe I need to reset. What? Reset. Okay, that's weird. My criteria has been reset. Is there something wrong with this? Nothing meets my criteria yet. Everything's checked. Okay, that's weird. So everything's checked and nothing meets criteria. That's odd. Anybody else want to try this? Astrobay, you want to try this? Normally I don't have everything checked. First of all, how did this get reset? How would this get reset again? That's strange. I've got no games on the graph. It must be like it's disabled or something. Alright, the graph has been disabled. We have a problem. Becomes impossible to play a warm-up game with the graph disabled. How about you? Anyone out there capable of clicking on your lobby function? Strange that I'm the only streamer on. 50,000 players online, 20,000 games in play. Play with a friend. Real time, fake time. Watch this. Play with a friend, okay. Does this work? Challenging Astrobay to a game. Or we can cancel. New opponent. That worked well. Alright, there it is. It's back. I must have clicked something. I don't know what it was, but it's back. Alright, Astrobay. Thanks for playing. It was fun. My pleasure. In panic, Astrobay is now challenging me to... We can play a casual, unlimited, standard. Unlimited. That's really old school. 6-year, everyone's unrated. Katarina. Unrated. I normally don't like to risk unrateds, but let's... All in favor of the London system. Today I'm playing unusual openings. We're going to play the pre-A attack. If we get that far. Come on, Katarina, just copy me. Knight f6. Weird openings. Oh my god, that's a weird opening. You are so cool. Katarina sacked a pawn with e5. She's a regular Fabiano Caruana. Call me Ding the Ren. Alright, Astrobay, no need for unlimited correspondence. F6. So, our unusual opening feature here is this gambit with e5. Not a very good one. If I had to take with the pawn, it would be basically like a black Mardemer in reverse, but taking with the knight is pretty clean. So black doesn't have any sort of compensation. Actually thinking of knight d3. But probably this is the best move. Just a warm-up game. Master Student. Strong. 2200 across the board. Welcome to the stream, Master Student. Guys, we're meant to play unusual openings here. I'm trying to move 2 moves in a row. I've done that in tournament play twice, making 2 moves in a row. Second one sort of happened very quickly, and my opponent just like gave me a face and let me take back the move. But the first time there was a minor scandal. That was funny. I've told this story many times here on the stream. I'm not going to tell you guys again, but don't feel bad if you try to make 2 moves in a row in a live game. Just be assured it's happened before. It's a long story. 7-8. I mean, that's just a ridiculous time control. 7-8. When I like 10-3 or something. That's a bizarre increment. 8-second increments. Maybe 2, 3, 5, or 30, you know, but I don't get it when it's like 7, 8 seconds. I've actually got to improve my play in long increments. So the 30-second increments, I can't really get a feel for it. I always feel like I just have to move instantly. You can't lure yourself into thinking that you can think too long, but you should. You really should use most of that time, but I found myself very paranoid I'm going to lose on time in an over-the-board situation with 30-second increments. Once or twice I actually did lose on time, but I had an almost lost position. I mean, I only lost on time if it was almost impossible to find a move. Last time it was a lost position. Yobias. Yobias is one of my warm-up games. Anyway, it looks like Katarina, not serious. She's disconnected. You can claim victory in 26 seconds. But black's position is a mess. She's just a total beginner. E5, of course. Not really a viable gambit. We're going to focus on playing some unusual stuff today. Alright, 26 seconds. Claim victory. Decisive game it was. Alright, well that was a fail. So far, so good. Master Student. Acerbate's the subscriber. We're going to take his challenge first, and then we'll play Master Student. If you guys are subscribers on Monday and Wednesdays, try to take the subscribers first. Acerbate, please take your time. Don't play too fast. If I get challenges, Acerbate, where are you now? Seriously? Today has been just an abomination. First I couldn't get the graph, then I get an 1100 provisional who aborts after 7 moves, and now Acerbate's not here. Alright. E4 with unusual openings. The Fred. You know I like the... You guys know that I like the St. George defense. Come on. Knight F3. Allowing me to transpose to Sicilian. See, that's an inaccuracy. You really have to play D4. You're letting me get a better opening by playing Knight F3. The O'Kelly Sicilian is far better than the St. George. Acerbate wants to set up. This is not good here. B5, bishop D5 isn't so bad for white. So first E6. The Knight F6 is interesting as well. I don't really love this for white. The bishop. b5 is just a fat tempo. And I can't play bishop b3 because he gets the bishop trapped. So he's basically just lost the full-on tempo. But bishop b7. Asabate's a big fan of playing e5. Actually, if bishop b7, d5 might be a good move. So now we just have like a Con Sicilian where he's wasted a tempo. Bishop c4, bishop e2. Your chess club made a news article about our match from last week. That's awesome. That was a pretty good game. You really, you had the Zen mode turned on, so you had no idea you were facing a higher rated player. I think Zen mode is a really cool feature, honestly. It takes the psychological aspect out of the game. Now, obviously, that's the kind of situation where it's going to be beneficial for you. If you're facing a lower rated player, it might have the opposite effect. But people who are psychologically affected by their opponents can totally benefit from Zen mode. It's awesome. One of the cooler features on lichess. I would probably want to use it from time to time just to kind of concentrate better. Oh, that's cool. Okay. It's in Dutch. We'll check it out. I'll use Google Translate. How's it Google Translate? Spooky Kid, do you think tactics are the most important thing to study for a new player rated around 1100? Well, clearly tactics are very important. Yeah. Yeah, probably. But it's not too early to start to really try to understand more concrete concepts and strategy. I think you need to start to understand everything. Around 1100 is a good starting point. I mean, I can identify, my first rating was like 1275. I was a little stronger. But I can still remember what being at that level was like. Man, Acerbate is a good gambiteer. He usually gets some compensation with these sort of pawn sacrifices. I like his philosophy of not clinging to material, and I fully advocate that. Players are too materialistic, although, typically when you're around 1100, for example, does lichess start you at 1500? It puts up that provisional 1500. I'm not sure how the math works. It's more of a display than an actual rating, I think. I'm not sure how much that means in the calculation of your future rating. In other words, Acerbate should definitely study openings more. He's at the point where he's strong enough now, and he's pretty good attacking. I think with white, especially Acerbate, we need you to work on your openings more. You don't really know enough theory with the white pieces. You focus quite a bit on black, but with white, you're kind of just making stuff up. I think the 1500 is just a arbitrary number. It's not a real. It's not like your rating is really 1500, is it? I don't know. That's pretty high rating to start people at, I would think. I mean, that's the number they put there, but I don't know if it is your real rating or not. Yeah, very smooth development. I started it when I was 11. When I was about 11 years old. And I played in my first tournament maybe like 2 years later. I'm trying to think. I started playing, I guess I was 11. I probably played in my first tournament when I was 12 or 13. Bishop g5. What a nice development for white here. There are various sacrificial ideas. Bishop e7, bishop f6, knight d5. I'm not sure that's enough for Astrobate though. I could even take with the g-pawn. There's a lot of nice sacrifices here, but I'm not sure any of them actually work. You need a complete repertoire. Most people who start early on lichess drop down. Right, random guy. I don't think that matters. I think that's stupid, you know. My personal opinion is that the 1500 arbitrary number should just be eliminated. I don't see why that's relevant. It's a completely arbitrary number. I don't know who thought of that or why. Bishop takes f6, knight b5. You can sacrifice a piece. I don't see enough compensation here. Clearly, like, knight d5 looks better. After knight d5, you at least push me back a little bit. The knight f5 doesn't really do anything. Trying to do too much. So if castles, my king is safe, but he wedges a piece on d6 with kind of temporary discomfort. This will only pinch a little. d5 I lose a pawn. I don't have that many choices. I might have to do this. Bishop e5 is interesting. But it's also tad dangerous. Bishop e5, putting that piece precariously placed. This combination seems to work. Has to be playing almost completely intuitively. Knight d6 check, king e7. How much did you calculate here? I have rook b8. This could be dangerous. I knew I shouldn't have done bishop e5, but I honestly missed rook takes e5. Now he's just got two knights for... Well, he's got two knights for a rook and pawn. It's equal material. Or two pieces for rook and pawn. But, yeah, it's unclear. Unclear. Nice job, Aspie. Nice tactic. Bishop takes c6, takes knight a5. This is his only move. Actually, that's his only move. I don't know what else there is. Luckily, after take knight a5, he's starting the family fork there. Now he went nuts. There was no need to sacrifice further material. He wants to get me with some sort of skewer on my queen, but I'm going to be gone by then. Acerbate, you had bishop takes c6. Maybe he just didn't realize it. Bishop c6, d takes c6, knight a5, threatening the fork here. And your knight either gets away or you play b4. We're out of here. And now you're down an exchange without really any clear compensation. Clear cut. He is brutally fast. Rook a2 doesn't work. Still not that clear. I don't know. He's in a special place today. Hanging on is not the word I would use to describe it. More like totally dominating. He's incredibly strong. Not moving pawns, yeah, typical computer style of play. Agreed. He's definitely a computer. Man, he's going to zone in on my f7 pawn now. Why couldn't I just take that stupid pawn on a2? Queen e2 or something. I can't believe how fast he's playing. Now he's even guarding his a2 pawn with b4, moving his queenside pawns too. Wow. It's like playing a master. I'm the one that asked him to play today. It's kind of disturbing. I tried to make an illegal move. Nice. Bishop f3. He's going out there. This is crazy. What? I had to be lost somehow. At some point, too many pawns. These pawns are very, very dangerous. Miss main 4. The last thing I want to do is lose on time. What a game. Definitely one of Astrobate's best games against me of all time. Look at this pawn stack he plays in the opening. It's actually happened in the game. The computer thinks he has compensation. Wow. He thinks it has compensation, but not so much now. I think this is crazy. Wow. So check this out. Knight f5. I should have castled and avoided all the hassle, but if I castle, he has knight d6. It's really not a big deal. This is like, in English, we have the saying from the frying pan into the fire. Basically, I could get my king out of danger. It'd pay a very small inconvenience. It's just a minor fee, you know, to get my king out of the center. Actually, this was strong, Astrobate. If you play knight f5 first. This looks like much better. I mean, you shouldn't give up your dark square bishop for no reason here. This is a huge concession. After bishop e7. Bishop takes f6. You're giving up a very, very valuable piece. Better not to do that. So anyways, was this the game? I didn't think knight d5 was such a big deal, honestly. Now you have knight f5 though. Still not that big a deal. Anyway, cool game. We're going to take challenges. Master Student 753. What am I talking about? No clue. Seems like I got to turn off this engine. It's lagging my system. All right. Master Student, I don't know, Bjorn? Bjorn is new. If you have established account, it's okay. Morwa, developer, IQP. All right. Was there bishop c4? I don't know, man. At what point did you recommend bishop c4? I saw that, troll. Yeah, bishop c4 was a strong move. That's the kind of position where I'm saying, yeah, he had the 3 pawns on the queen side. I still had a d pawn at that point, but Yes, troll. Like, bishop c4 would have guarded f1, and he would have attacked the d7 pawn. And he's controlling the d5 square, so there's no check there. I know the point where you're talking about. You know, he had bishop c4. Well, everybody knows that I was winning at the end, Bob, but that wasn't really the interesting. That wasn't really when Blubik said I had mate in 4. It doesn't matter. Position is no longer interesting. Although maybe that endgame wasn't so simple if Asterby played it perfectly. With the 3 pawns against a rook, I think he might have some chances yet. But that's because I made another blunder after. At the end was sort of stupid, but I mean, in the critical in-between stage was what I was most interested in that game. The whole point from where he made the initial sacrifice till he finally lost the game. The whole in-between stage was interesting. Where I was worse, but I mean I wasn't like lost. I might have been lost at some point. All right, we'll try something here. I don't usually play the Dutch. We'll experiment with the Dutch. Nice game, Masturbate. 128. You're clean. No computers. But the speed at which he plays puts immense pressure. Yeah, my Cinnapon loss has to be like over 100 for sure. Though at the end, I think our Cinnapon loss probably went up massively by missing mate in 4, like you pointed out. I love it when the spectators point out the mate in 4. It's always easier to see the moves, Blobix, when you're calmly sitting in the audience. The bot from yesterday is banned now. Yeah, I mean, the weird thing about that guy was that he didn't seem to cheat in all of his games. He cheated against me, and he cheated against HGGG. I'm thankful that he cheated against HGGG because if he hadn't cheated in that game, it would have been difficult, I think, to get lichess to ban his account. But as far as I'm concerned, the HGGG game was absolutely like total computer play by that guy. So that made it like an ironclad case. If he hadn't done that, like my game against him wasn't long enough, I don't think, to definitively prove he was cheating. But he just blew HGGG away with like this perfect computer game. And DK guy resigned against him after playing like 5 moves, which didn't help really our evidence either. I kind of wish DK guy had played a little bit there. All right. I don't know this too well, Master Student, and you're from Norway. A relative of Magnus Carlsen. Maybe Magnus Carlsen's dad. Heinrich. But Magnus plays the Stonewall. I don't think I'll ever play the Stonewall in over-the-board play, but I was recently doing some videos on Botvinnik, and I don't want to be dogmatic, you know. I want to be willing to play things that I've been biased against. I think the Stonewall I've always been kind of biased against. Like, it's not good, but it's not really that bad either, you know. I just don't really like it, and it's got a good reputation for white. That doesn't mean that it's not interesting. You know, how did Botvinnik beat a lot of strong players with the Stonewall? How does Magnus Carlsen beat a lot of strong players using the Stonewall? You're watching the wrong stream. Alright, Queen C2 early. He could support the idea of E4, which I think is cool. It basically kind of refutes the Dutch. If you achieve E4 early, you're calling my entire opening system into question. Now, obviously, I can play D5 here. The question is it good? Queen C2 is kind of an interesting move. May not be without really a point. He's delaying the movement of his knight Usually they play knight c3 though. I wouldn't. I guess there I go bishop e7. Maybe I should play bishop e7 here as well. I don't know if Magnus would go for that. Well, we don't have too many options. I'm not going to play the Simon Williams Dutch. G6, maybe last move would have been. I've seen some G6 here, kind of obscure system. That's interesting. Queen C2, though I don't have any options now. D6, D5, bishop E7. That's really about it. It looks like I literally have only like 3 moves. I can't imagine any other move here. Troll in a roll would play like A5. No thank you. Alright, I guess we'll go with D5. Proper stonewall. Because I think D6 is a Simon Williams. And bishop E7, that's the other option. But Vinnick probably would have played bishop E7. In those days, the Dutch stonewall bishop E7 didn't really have the negative connotation. This is what he's trying to do. Delay his knight move. It's probably not a big deal though. I've played enough with white. Probably I end up playing bishop e7 anyway, because bishop d6. Bishop d6, bishop f4. I'll play this in any case. I don't want to trade my dark square bishop for his bishop. Not particularly. And therefore, the argument is that I made a mistake. Like, I should probably play bishop e7 here. Maybe there's a chance he'll play knight f3 instead of knight h3. I don't really know this opening very well with black. I have my systems that I play with white against the Dutch, but I'm more or less experimenting. This bishop has to keep an eye on f5. I don't want to have to recapture with the c pawn, so something like knight d7. Occasionally you'll see it as a pawn sacrifice. Like knight d7, cd, ed, queen takes f5, and then some sort of discovery against his queen. Jim, what's up? Good to see you. Good to see all of you. So knight d2. This is a standard kind of way of playing with white. The knights have these good squares. Magnus and others have introduced the idea of playing basically fianchetto type moves in the Stonewall Dutch, which weren't really prevalent until the last 10 to 15 years. Alright, here, I don't know. Bishop d7 is a move. I think knight e4 is going to be a move at some point. But as I said, knight d7 looks problematic. No, I can't play this yet. That's an idea. I mean, I guess if I'm white here, I don't know. Bishop d7 seems like a strange move, but I don't really have a better suggestion. Knight e4, f3. He just kicks me out directly. Maybe that's the right way of playing. I don't know. We'll look it up after the game. I think my move order is already suspicious. Again, this queen c2 is a very unusual move. So against this, we have to concentrate. Now knight e4, knight e4, knight e5, clearly. He's going to kick me out with f3 later on. My f5 pawn is protected. My knight will retreat back to d6 when I get hit. And then what? If I get c5'd, it'll go back to f7. Crawling around with no space here. I don't like it. Stonewall Dutch Inception. So, I mean, eventually just, I don't know what he's thinking about here, honestly. Seems like knight e5 is automatic. I guess you can play knight f4. That's maybe what he's thinking about. Knight f4, knight d3 instead. Yeah, I don't mind him taking my bishop. That's not an issue. But I do need to develop my pieces somehow. It's not that I'm afraid he's going to take this. I don't mind. But he's not, anyway. But I need to get my knight into the game. So knight e6, c5, knight f7. If knight f4, we have rook f6. Even bishop f7 or queen c8 to defend that. This square is a huge weakness, especially when the knight is on d7. If my knight was on d7, I would be even more limited in how I could protect that. Now queen c8, and knight and f4 is a really big piece here. Maybe bishop f7. I don't really like this. It takes away my knight square. The plan was originally to play knight d7. I think we should play knight f7, maybe. White is clearly better. But anyone who's thoughtful enough to play like queen c2 on move 5, I mean, it's got to be a positional style player. He's playing d4. This square is a little weak. I'm not really in any position to take advantage of it. Rook h6. Oh, I just lost the exchange with knight h5. He took it, I can't believe it. That actually seems like not so bad. I think white maybe ought to just keep the pressure here. I feel like he's letting me off the hook a tiny bit. This is not such a bad exchange sacrifice. Yeah, I'm clearly worse, but a pawn for the exchange. Maybe it's not hopeless. I feel like if he just maintained his advantage, his edge might even be bigger. Pawn takes is interesting. Pawn takes, pawn takes, pawn takes with a giant center. This is going to open up my king a bit. Originally I was intending bishop takes, which may end up being better, but the king doesn't have much protection here. That's how I trick people over the board, by lying to them about my intention. d4 is interesting. d4, f4. I wonder if he should have opened the C file or not. But now it's kind of a little unclear. I thought by sacrificing the exchange, that's at least a chance for me. The amoeba. Pawn amoeba. I'm sorry to talk about amoebas with coronavirus at hand. It is a nice center, but I don't want this to be backward. That's why I'm taking this way. At this point, it's looking like pretty reasonable compensation. Now, black might even be better here. Do I have anything here? E4? Yeah, I mean, this got out of control. He had a really good game. When I played knight f7, I feel like I conned him into playing knight h5, where he's just maintaining a position here. It's still better for white. The computer kind of thinks it's marginal. But I feel like from the practical standpoint, you know, from the practical standpoint, this is a better chance for me than him just having that pressure, the space advantage that he had earlier. Instructive possibility. I mean, white had a good opening. I wanted to check the opening, though, before we go on. I don't play the stonewall, but this queen c2 move really freaked me out. Queen c2 is some sort of specialty move. Gelfand Bareyev. Not played very prevalently, but doesn't seem random to me. So as I said, the only moves here are d5, d6, and bishop e7. Bishop e7 very rare. Most people play d5. And knight h3 is the best move. And now, interestingly, the majority of players played bishop d6. But I would think you're just walking into bishop f4. Karpov Weiser 1995. I don't know. It doesn't seem real happy to me. But bishop e7 isn't great either. All right. Anyway, interesting. So Bjorn, we try to play unusual openings. You're waiting for d5 to play it. Right. But there are various places you can play knight h3, and not only against d5 setups it can work against Leningrad very well. Also against the d6 type of structures in certain positions as well. It has a lot of uses, but generally, yeah, you're waiting for me to commit to a pawn structure there before you play the knight to h3. What are we trying to do here? Knight f3. I wanted to play the pre-A attack earlier. a3. But the last player played like e5 here. Oh no, it's the Chigorin. What are we going to do against the Chigorin? I have no unusual openings for the Chigorin. How am I supposed to play an unusual opening against the Chigorin? Alright, we'll try a3. A very serious refutation. I was going to play a3 anyway. Serious refutation of the Chigorin. DK guy, welcome. So knight f6. Now I can play bishop f4 or e3, I guess. That's about it. I don't like b4. Mr. Coffee. I mean, a3 is basically a passive move. The pre-A attack. I'm not sure what Grandmaster pre-A does against the Chigorin. Years ago, he had a New in Chess yearbook article. He's playing knight f3, a3, d4, knight f3, a3 versus everything. But against the Chigorin, I don't know. It just doesn't seem very critical. Not critical against anything, actually. I can't recall if... it's like playing the London system with a3 instead of c3. But I mean, clearly this knight is in the way of his pawn. That pawn's journey to influence the center. a6 is not as good as my a3, probably. So now we play c4. He has no ability to play c5. Anything with b5 is no good. When you play black with the bishop on c8 and the knight's not on c6, and you play a6, you can take on c4 and play b5 and then put your bishop on b7 or something like that with a very strong diagonal. So there's a real point to a6 in some queen pawn openings with black. But here, it just seems like some sort of defensive move. Like he's trying to stop me from putting a knight on b5, which it might actually be reasonable. But white is definitely better here because my pawn is able to influence the center and his pawn is not able to influence the center. The difference is very marked. You ever met someone you admire in person and they have bad breath? Flow Chess, one of your young students. I have a friend who has really bad breath, and I've always been tempted to. Not recently. I didn't see him for a long time. I was always tempted to. You know what I mean? That's awkward, Bob. It's awkward. Should you tell your friend that they have bad breath? Maybe you should write into dear Abby. Dear Abby, should I tell my friend that he has bad breath? Or should I just let him go for the rest of his life without anyone telling him? I don't want to trade pieces. I'm not sure this is a very principled move, in a sense. because we're moving the same piece again. He just developed a piece. But his bishop isn't really stable on d6. I have c5 ideas, but most importantly, I'm attacking f6 and attacking d5. So it's not like my move just lets him do anything. He's got to respond to this. Blobik's a student. Flow. Go with the flow. We had this friend. I won't name any names. Way back when I first moved to Budapest, around 2005. And he had this philosophy of go with the flow. The problem was when he came to stay at your house, that's what he would do. He would go with the flow. He would never leave. Like, be very careful when the friends who come to visit go with the flow. It was embarrassing. Flow theory. Just kidding, guys. Unusual openings. A bit of a strange conglomeration here. Black played the Chigorin and I played a3. I think he could consider playing some kind of Black Mardeemer in reverse. Why not? So we win a pawn. He must take it back. We take with the knight, and then maybe, you know, he has two choices, three choices. Really two. I mean, the queen on e6 doesn't look right, but he can put it on g6, then knight h4. So I guess he should play like ed, knight takes d5, and queen back to d8. Maybe knight e7 is not so bad. It's not so bad, or it loses a piece. Loses a piece. Other than that, it's not a bad idea. I mean, if I cooperate and take on e6, but here he loses a piece, so failure to calculate. Blobik's donated 1,000 bits to go with the flow. Blobik's, you're near the top. Thank you, man. No one wants to challenge. They're all afraid of Mr. Slowhand's economic prowess. They will not challenge Mr. Slowhand. They don't want to make him angry. Mr. Slowhand donated 1,200. Acerbate very carefully crept up to 1,200, but he doesn't want to go past. And Blobik's just keeping a cool 1,000 on the table. So this is the problem. I have e5. Guys, check out my friend Charles Hertan's book, Forcing Chess Moves. 4th edition. You can see some of my games in there. That's the only reason I promote his book. I was telling Antoni about it yesterday. It's got really good reviews. Published by New in Chess. Not a kind of person who writes books for the sake of writing books. Charlie believes he's a good player. He was a friend of mine, still is. And for a player, you know, of all different levels, I mean, I think it's a good book. Not just for beginners. You can get it on Chessable, I think, too. But people ask me, how can I improve in calculation? There's not that many good books about learning how to calculate better. But Bjorn here. This is all about forcing moves. You must calculate the forcing moves. This is pretty easy to calculate. Bishop takes f6, queen f6, cd5, and it's just a forcing move followed by a forcing move, e4 and e5. You must train yourself to calculate, at minimum, the forcing moves in the position. You don't have to calculate that deeply, and it's easier to calculate these kind of moves to threaten something. Jim's got a Cheer 75 badge. The ugly green badge. You better upgrade. The Cheer 75K badge. We don't see too many of those around. Yesterday was Charlie's... No, recently was Charlie's birthday. Alright. Developer IQP. He would have been an IM, but he gave up on the... He gave it up too early. He was this close to being an IM. I'm very disappointed with him for that. There was really no reason for him to abandon his quest to become an IM. He had like 2 norms, and he had the rating. I don't understand how you quit going for a title when you're like 3/4 of the way there to the title and then stop. For me, that's really strange. But I don't know. So developer IOP Felix Morales. Morales is a subscriber. And then we'll take Flow Chess. Flow Chess was sponsored by Blobix. Yeah, actually, the neon badge isn't bad. I don't mind the 75. Was it Clash Kid didn't like the orange badge or the red badge? We haven't seen Clash Kid in forever. Alright. Tomorrow, it's already Thursday. Guys, we do the subscriber stream on Thursdays. So, where's my list? Bob. Who else is on the list for tomorrow? Tomorrow night, 6:30. Subscriber stream with game analysis. I don't even know when Easter is. I'm not overly religious or anything. I live in a Catholic country. But I'm not even Catholic, so... I mean, the dominant religion is Catholic in Hungary, especially with the Prime Minister advocating that. But, I mean, I'm just not really an overly religious person, so... We don't stop the stream for the sake of Easter. This is an interesting setup by Morales. He's playing a kind of... What do you call this, really? There are different forms of this type of thing. I mean, I guess it's a Polish opening in this case, but... Sometimes it's useful to leave the c-pawn back. I see a lot of that that's very trendy now, playing like... b4 without c4, just c4 later. Stopping c5. Keith Arkell had something he called the speckled hen. That I guess is this. Where you go d4 and b4. d4, b4, knight f3, I think. So bishop b2 is coming next. We need this c5 break. Or else we just play it. We just play it like a straight up. Okay, this is the classic way to play. It's only 5 plus 3, not 7 plus 3. You guys can challenge me between 5, 3, and 7 plus 3. Sometimes I get confused about the time control. 7-3 is a lot more time to talk about the games. We got the sun. Sun, good weather here to be locked in with. Yeah, e5 is standard now. It's almost Nanu. Nanu played against me. d4, knight d2. I was like, what are you doing? d4, knight f6, knight d2. g6. Knight f3. And then b4. There's all different move orders. I mean, this is the standard move. It's also like a French defense against the King's Indian attack. I'm basically playing the King's Indian attack. He's playing the French. French of sorts. Morales taking the lead in the weird opening department. I haven't really got to play too much. We got a Dutch in. I played, tried to play the St. George against Asterbait. Nobody's letting me do anything. Acerbate let me transpose to the Sicilian, actually. That was a nice pawn sacrifice, Acerbate. But I still think you ought to learn how to play more theory with the white pieces. You managed to turn it into a reasonable game there. Now queen to c2. That looks suspicious. Take. Always take. Now c5 is just too strong. Punished. Oh, this is just good. Morales is on the rail now. He's almost on the rail. If it's a poker game, he's got only a few chips left after this move. I don't know, man. You're spiraling. You're spiraling out of control now. This is very bad. Bishop f5 and the long diagonal. Ugh. I'm gonna get disconnected. I lost to that. Okay. Interesting. Knight c6 is another good move. But then bishop takes f5, knight takes b4. How bad is it actually? You know what I was thinking about was knight d5 earlier. That was my original plan. That's the problem with knight d5 is that his knight protects his rook. So I can't actually do knight d5. Yeah, that was the point with knight b3. So this is not so simple. Bishop takes and knight c6 looks pretty strong. How bad is it to just take on c5? Is he getting away with this? Do you think I should just take that pawn? I'm kind of disappointed to even have to play bishop takes t3, frankly. I was concerned about knight c6, bishop takes f5, knight takes b4, queen b1. G takes f6, my king side gets ruined. I don't really want my king side to get ruined. There's really no need for that. There is knight, let's see, bc knight b4. bc knight b4. He's a little behind in development. Is there really a choice? Okay, now I was thinking something like knight g4. What would Nizamedinov do? He's going to sack an exchange. It's not that bad for white. Is this a blunder? I thought maybe you could take there. May just be a very serious blunder by me. Blunder. There was nothing really clear. And taking an exchange on a1. There were some variations where I can do that, but it looks like it's actually dangerous for black. We have a slight structural advantage, and we're a little more active, but white is still alive. We're very alive. b6 is not a bad move, Bob. Simple and good. b6 would have been very similar. b6, you know, clearly. I was thinking he can't do like rook d1 because of knight here. That looks kind of legit. But maybe not. Speaking of that, knight c1. If knight g4, I'm losing material, right? No. Juicebox, long time no see. So, if knight d3, bishop a1, we really win the exchange there. Acerbate, what are you doing? Sneaking the bit lead? No one's gonna notice. Did you see that Acerbate sneaking the bit lead? Mr. Slow is gonna be very disappointed. Now, there's this square. Serious issue. So, I don't want to see that. It may be unavoidable in the long term, but at least he's going to have to pay a price. Pay the price. Oh no. Whew, I'm lucky I have a move against that. Do I have a move? Do I have a move? He's gonna win on time. It's a little like Acerbate. It seems like he's playing stronger the faster he plays. It's like you get, it's the, I guess it's the testosterone. Bob. You have very few bits left. Just enough to steal the lead from Mr. Slowhand. What? 95? Oh no. Alright. Please don't checkmate me. We're in trouble. Now yes, mate. There's just no way to stop the mates. I thought there would be. That's insane. That's so perverse, dude. He's totally lost. And I really didn't think this was a big deal. In fact, I even saw it when I played this move. Wow. But I mean, there's no defense here. I'm up a rook. Queen e6 is a blunder. Like, look at this. I just totally let down my defenses. I figured it's over. It's just over after f6. If I had played queen e7, I guess he's just lost. So queen e7 is just lost, and I blundered. I had queen e5. Queen e5 is just winning. Refutes his thing altogether. Play queen e7 here. Queen e5, he has to resign. Queen b7? Where? I'm not quite sure what you're talking about. This is a striking position. I completely forgot I can play king f7. Early on, I was paranoid about king f7 because of knight g5 check and some kind of nothingness over here. I was thinking about this like 5 moves ago. Total panic. Now I'm finally lost. I don't know what got into me. I don't know what got into me. Disgraceful. For some reason, king f7 wasn't on my radar at all. It's really strange. I think the fact that my queen and king are on that forking, whatever you call it, position, it makes king f7 like creepy. But here they're not. I mean, why can't I see this move? That's funny. He has this, here. Bishop takes, knight takes a2. And even this might not be... He's not even down any material here. Amazingly. But I mean, it's ridiculous. How can I not see that I can play king f7? I'm like, well, I can't play rook f8. I can't play rook d6. I have no threats. Obviously, even knight c2 is better than nothing. But this is ridiculous. Oh, someone said queen b7. Right. Queen b7 here, it does prolong the game. Yeah. Okay, we're going to play flow chess for Blobix, and then we'll go to the next subscriber. That was really, really undeserved. Cheap victory from a lost position. You swindled me. I swindled myself. Once I had this game with FIDE Master, what's his name? Andrew Karklins at the US Open in 2001. And he was like 3 pawns down or something. 3 pawns down, totally lost. And I am going to play something a little unusual here. I just let up and I drew. And after the game, I was like, you should be ashamed of yourself. It was kind of weird, like saying that to a sort of like senior player. But it was just meant as a joke, you know. I mean, I was angry, but I tried to say it with a little bit of humor to break up the tension after the game. And he was all like offended. He's like, "You should be ashamed of yourself." I was like, "Damn, dude, you should just be happy." You got to draw it all. Talking back to me after drawing 3 pawns down. C6 is a good move here. So I'm looking for a position where I can make A3 really valid, you know? Not easy to do now. Probably I shouldn't have played G3. G3 was thoughtless. Now A3 is just really a wasted move. But if you were to play, let's say, like a King's Indian, like I had last game against Morales, I mean, A3, B4, it's not so bad. But here it looks really completely irrelevant. This move is just utterly wasted time. And even a weakness, especially in this type of structure. Exactly, D5. Thank you for demonstrating that. In particular here, I don't really have another good move. I mean, maybe I could try queen to C2 now. Probably. I should try that. Rather than take. But I don't really like A3 in this type of structure with D4. A3 seems like a weakening of the queen side. However, knight C3 is not very good either. So we'll just play D3. Black has a good game. Flow chess age. Well, very mature handling of A3. But it's possible that Black just plays this type of setup against everything. As Mr. Spock would say, I need more information. Not enough information for that judgment here. I can guess, if you'd like me to guess, but watching too much Star Trek, obviously. Morales will get angry. Who was it? Was it Jim or Morales? He gets angry when I talk too much about Star Trek. Star Trek again? Alright. D3, 47, 39, 28. I'm going to guess the flow chess as a kid because I think Blobix probably coaches kids. Other than that, I don't have much information. Now D4. We're basically like Black. We're playing Black in a weird sort of symmetrical Sicilian. So I can only guess. Would you like me to make a guess, Captain? So I don't have enough information. So I can't really judge the age of my opponent here. We'll have to see their endgame, you know, see what's under the hood. Blobix. Maybe we should do it Russian style. From the back of the game to the front. And then we can probably better judge the age of our opponent. Yeah, but now it's like a kind of okay position for white, I think. B4. B4 94. Oof. Is B4 94 just taking me out? B4 94. Ouch. Pawn takes C4, bishop takes C3. In that case, I might have to play rook D1. B1. Or It looks like we have to play rook b1. Get off the hot diagonal. That would be a nice move for black, no? b4, knight e4. In your face. Very strong. No answer for that. It's just like terrible. Probably I could take it and then bishop c3, move the rook, and maybe recoup that pawn on e4 somehow. But, alright. b4 now opens the a file for black. I don't mind. There's nothing special going on here. Blobik's trained. So, we've got the subscriber stream on Thursday. That's tomorrow, 6:30 p.m. in the evening. Is tomorrow Easter? Everyone's always talking about Easter. Easter seems to go on forever. Even though I was raised in a Christian family, I never could keep track of these holidays. All right. A takes B. Easter Thursday. Blog was asking, I guess Easter Sunday. So I guess Morales was asking about the simul on Sunday. I guess it's Easter Sunday. That's odd. Very strange. Easter Sunday will be the anniversary of my mom's death. Strange coincidences. But, all right, bishop g4. On another positive note, she came back to life on Easter. It's kind of weird. Bishop g4. We need to just develop. Actually, I really wanted to put my bishop on b2, but I didn't realize that Easter was this Sunday. Strange coincidence. Obviously, last year it was like not a Sunday. Clearly. Rook c8. As I've explained before, in positions like this with symmetrical structures and a lot of pawns on the board, bishops are not necessarily really better pieces than knights. So black can definitely play bishop takes f3 here without really losing any sleep. Maybe an aggressive player doesn't want to give up or trade pieces here. But I think it's a totally okay move. Man. Very solid. It's much more solid than Blobik's himself. Very systematic. Scary. Correct. The next Anish Giri. Flow Giri. Waiting for, I can't wait for the end game. I've got to end the stream a little bit earlier. I usually finish at 1:30. What do I said? 1:30? Is that right? Something wrong with my AC adapter. So, but I think we have to leave about 15 minutes early today, guys. sunlight is also a technical problem. I love how, like, during lockdown, there's, like, no rain ever. And it's, like, perfect weather every day. It's kind of ridiculous. Knight b4? Fat Tuesday. Anyway, this is an interesting idea. I'm offering this pawn. Are there black people in Hungary? African Hungarians is the politically correct term. But seriously, obviously, you know, we don't have any historical population of Africans who were, like, you know, brought here against their will in the 1800s. But there are some African immigrants. Bob. Now we're getting somewhere. This bishop became very strong. What once was basically non-offensive becomes a very strong piece. This threatens a fork. I actually was hoping for I was expecting knight takes b4, and then I will play queen b3. Then the knight goes back to c6, then I take here. It's possible I miscalculated. It probably, we'll look at it after the game, but I think that black should take this pawn. To make a long story short. d4 was a serious blunder. Positionally speaking. Speaking of blunders, I'm not so sure about knight c5. Maybe that's just a mistake too. White is better now, but this may be... Letting black trade that pawn off, not really a good idea. I thought knight b4. If these pawns were to get traded, I mean, it becomes very simplified, and black's chances of drawing should be pretty realistic. He or she is still hanging on here. White is slightly better. The two bishops count. Magnus. Channeling channeling Magnus. Channel your inner Magnus. Maybe queen d7 there. This, I'm afraid, locks it a little too much on the king side, though. Now we win an exchange. Not sure if it's even worth it. So, I mean, the defining feature of the game was this white square bishop that went from bad to good, or neutral to good, because of the decisions that black made. But, I mean, I think, honestly, black had a good opening. Everything was fine. Even giving up the bishop was okay. But when you play e5 here, this is where the problems start. You know, if you play a structure based on e6, then my white square bishop doesn't really do much. But once you play e5, you're entering a different area now where the white squares start to have relevance. And that's where I generated my counterplay. Another move that black would like to have here would be h6, stopping bishop g5. I can start fighting for the white squares, particularly d5. So you see how the whole game changes now. Black was induced to play d4 and then weaken the white squares even more. But anyway, okay, here, queen c7, knight here. Why don't we play this? If you can trade this off, these queenside pawns, rook takes b4, queen takes c5, rook takes b7. I mean, the position is slightly better for white, but now it's all the same pawns, all the pawns on the same side of the board. I mean, this is going to be much, much harder for me to win. So white handled the opening well, but once they don't trade the queenside pawns off, even here, probably not that bad. Rook b8 or something. That was passive. Okay. Black played a little too passively in the middle game, weakening the white squares. But not bad. Subscribers to the stream, guys, are welcome to challenge. I've got the only time for 2 or 3 games. So Stuk, Stefanos, you guys are subscribers to my stream. Flow chess is 9. Okay, I wasn't even like aware of how the pieces moved. Well, I knew how the pieces moved when I was 9, honestly. But I didn't know en passant, and I didn't understand castling. And I didn't understand the object of the game when I was 9 years old. So, and I don't really think it's necessary to teach kids like under 5. You know, I think 5 is a good age to start playing chess, probably. I don't understand. To me, it's like too much when you're trying to teach like 3 and 4-year-olds to play chess. But anyway, that's just my opinion. But 9 is a great age to start, I would guess. But this player is already quite strong. You know, they probably started when they were 5. It's an experienced tournament veteran under the tutelage of Blabix. My first tournament, seems to me, was when I was 12 and a half or something. I'm supposed to play unusual opening, so let's think of something. I played chess like it was checkers. I learned how the pieces moved, but then I never learned the proper rules for a long time. Like, I think I learned the rules of the movement of the pieces when I was maybe like 6, and then for years we would play checkers. Well, we play like you capture all the pieces. That was the object of the game. Let's try the Sarawan attack. So basically we would play chess without mate, just taking the other guy's pieces, like Arnold Schwarzenegger. No, who did I see? Arnold knows the moves. Arnold knows the game, but there was some celebrity I saw recently. Maybe like a boxer who had no king on the board. They were like studying the game or the position really hard with no king on the board. Some celebrity sports figure. I think a major boxing star. Um, but probably Chuck Norris still plays like that. Not a big fan. He's good friends with the Hungarian Prime Minister. Bishop e7. For some reason, Hungarians love Chuck Norris. But anyway, I will take Arnold in a chess match against Chuck Norris. So what are we supposed to be playing here? I tried to play an unusual opening, but black played bishop e7, which is very, very safe. And I was trying to make something kind of new here, but difficult to do. When black plays so passively, what am I supposed to do? Washed up action stars are popular. Jean-Claude Van Damme isn't so bad. What's the guy who moved to Russia? He's friends with like Putin. Steven Seagal, that's it. I don't think that's what I think it is. So action, washed up action. You've got it backwards, Bob. I think washed up action stars like dictators. They're like drawn to dictators. Yeah, Steven Seagal. Gerald Depardieu. He's not exactly an action star. Close though. He's also an emigre. He's more in the general category, the general acting category. DK guy. Alright, anyway, I couldn't think of anything here. We're supposed to be playing unusual openings. But Stuk just played the very solid bishop e7. And this game will likely transpose to something like a Queen's Gambit Orthodox after d5. Yeah, basically Dennis Rodman is an action star. He's a washed up. Dennis Rodman is a sort of washed up action hero. If I had to like choose celebrities for my personal chess team, I think I would go with like Howard Stern and maybe Arnold. Nimzo. It's a classical Nimzo without Queen c2. Well, I don't know if corporate people count as celebrities. Some of them, I think, obviously what's his name? The founder of Tesla. I guess people like that are that famous become celebrities automatically. Bill Gates. Now it's transposed directly to a Queen c2 Nimzo. The idea here is that we want to benefit from play along the open file, half open file in this case. Where is everyone today? I saw a photo recently of some position that Schwarzenegger was analyzing on social media. But it didn't look like Looked like he was playing chess with himself on quarantine. We've all done that, though. When we're bored, we have no one to play with, and we start a game against ourselves. But the problem is, right, that you always start to favor. Clearly, Arnold was like favoring his side. Like one side was just like developing its pieces, and the other side had just like made pawn moves. But according to Howard Stern's interview with Schwarzenegger, like he's pretty serious, like seriously into it. I wonder if like who else plays chess? You'd think like man, I'm seriously getting dementia. You'd think like Harrison Ford would be a chess player. Bishop f4. I never heard of that, though. I'm just making stuff up. James Woods was a good chess player. That's true. Of course, Humphrey Bogart, very famous. But Woods was considered, I don't know how strong he was, but like for an amateur, he was quite strong. One of the stronger celebrity chess players in history. I'm not sure how strong Bogart was, but there's recorded games. I think there are recorded games of Humphrey Bogart in the annals of chess history. This bishop now. I'm a little concerned about my bishop getting trapped or something, but it's not quite going to happen yet. I don't think he can do f5, g5, f4 quite yet. You're welcome for the flow chess game. I think there's a good positional lesson from that game. He handled the opening part well. But tell him, Blobix, the next time he has to make to an endgame, because we need to test him. 300 bits from Blobix. Uh-oh. It's just a polite donation. Putting him first place this week in the bits contest. Yeah, I guess sports player. I mean, sports athletes, that's the word, are counting. Yeah, Federer seems like, I mean, tennis players would be. I would think tennis players would be pretty aware strategically. I mean, obviously football players could be. There was some famous American, not famous, a non-famous American football player who was actually streaming chess. Someone had him on a chess stream. Relatively lesser known player, but a pro. American football, I'm talking. I saw last year. But if you take in mind people like, no problem at all, Roger Federer, I mean, chess is like, I think more respected in Europe than in the United States. So I guess the world's become more globalized, but I'm not surprised that Federer, being like from Switzerland, would probably be more likely to play chess than like an American tennis pro, you know? There's a better tradition for chess in Europe than in the United States. It's more of a, there's an older tradition here. There's a much higher propensity of average people to play chess. Hungary is like a great example. we have a high percentage of people who play chess compared to the United States. I imagine Switzerland would be a little less, but also more than US or something. Lennox Lewis was a chess player. I mean, he's still around, but he was. Boxing title holder. He was supposed to be decent. Reasonably good. Haas played chess with Ponderosa. This is a very awkward move for black. Aspie, you're an older generation than me. I never really caught a lot of the Bonanza reruns. But black is nearly toast here. I wonder what the average rating in Hungary is. It's probably gotten really much lower nowadays because more little kids are starting with like sub 1,000 ratings even in Hungary. So no problem at all. I'm sure that you're still above the average. But Hungary has one of the strongest countries per capita. I think we looked this up once. And it was like Serbia was... Hungary is strong in water polo. But then again, that's strange for me, kind of. The region is very strong in water polo. Not just Hungary. All the sports that I never even watched in my life, like water polo, fencing, handball. I don't even know if they play handball in the United States. What do we even... That's a free pawn. Let's take it. Let's take it. Yeah, they have chess boxing, right? But why do chess biathlons have to be limited to boxing? The contrast is nice, but do you remember what I was talking about earlier? This is the point of slice. This is the point of the opening. Draw. Alright guys, I only have time for like 1 or 2 more games. Stefanos. I am taking subscribers. I'm not skipping over people. Because I don't want to play with this guy, Felix. It's just that, well, he is provisional. I do have to cater to my supporters here. This is probably our last game for today, guys. I'll play Morwa at a later date, unless this is really short. But I have to record a video. Oh no. I wanted you to play like the main line so I could play b5. The Gurgi needs a variation. Now it's going to be hard to play something out of the ordinary. Queen takes d5, knight c3. Not really an unusual opening. This will transpose to mainline Scandinavian. Or center counter. That's something you never hear anymore. You never hear anyone say the center counter. I was brought up, everyone says the Scandi. Scandi, Scando, Scandinavian. But I was brought up on this opening being called the center counter defense, which is kind of an antique name. Yeah, I love this, how people are trying to... No one calls that. The openings existed since Morphe. Probably did. I would doubt it, though. This opening has been around for under 50 years. Anderson, Morphe, probably there were games before that, but that's Morphe Anderson. The first case I can recall seeing game with the Scandinavian. The London. I think I've played the London like 3 times with white in my chess career, spanning decades now. That was before it was popular. See, I don't do things that are popular. I'm like, I just hate the bandwagon. I've played the Scandinavian with queen takes d5. Ironically, this position was like my only game in the Scandinavian. I played bishop g4 and at 2100 played bishop takes f7 and lost immediately. Resigned after bishop g4, bishop f7, king f7, lady 5, queen e5 check. I might have played it in another game or two, but I can't remember. But I didn't play queen a5 for very long. Bishop f5 is the main line. Bishop f5. I think I just said bishop a5. Bishop f5. But I assume that Stefanos knows that. Hopefully he'll play bishop takes f7 check. Vladimir Klitschko. Imagine that. Ukrainian chess player. That's what I'm saying. I mean, Eastern Europe. All of Europe, but especially even Eastern Europe. Hungary, Romania, Ukraine, Bulgaria. I mean, all these countries. Taxi drivers play chess, you know. They know who, like, the world champion is. They've heard of Garry Kasparov. Average people play chess. Not so much in the United States. I mean, maybe times are changing, Bob Dylan, but I want to get out of here. The worst thing can happen to the black side of a Scandinavian is like white plays d5. Then you're toast. It's very possible that white should play h3 now. Stefanos, you must play h3. You must play h3, bishop h5, and g4 and go for it. Maybe you don't get much at all if you don't go for it immediately. Now you're committed to castling kingside, and g4 is probably risky. So, those of you who have not submitted a game, who are subscribers to the stream, can do so for tomorrow night. Next stream, tomorrow night at 6:30, we will be going over serious chess games here. If Stefanos... Oh, no. I was going to say, if Stefanos loses quickly... So I just said that d5 is an interesting idea, but... If you can play d5, my exact words were... This is an acerbate style pawn sack. So if cd, knight d5, bishop e1. I'd have to be a little skeptical of that. If cd, bishop d5, cd, bishop d5, knight d5, knight d5, bishop e1. This seems unlikely to work. So you can play bishop e5 check. I can also play bishop takes c3. But I thought maybe I can do without giving up my bishop. This is a little bit over the top. I don't think he can ignore this pin. Acerbate, what do you think? You would do this? This is going to be complex, so probably my last game. I would like to play more Wah, but I do have to go record a video, so if this game lasts more than 5 minutes, I'm going to have to go. Quite a bit of work to do. An audio video. Video audio. It's really torture that it's such nice weather this spring and we can't even go outside practically and enjoy it. Though it was refreshing not to talk about coronavirus. The stream, like, it's just been dominating everything. All anybody talks about. But we can go outside, Bob, but generally you shouldn't, encourage it. Shouldn't be encouraged. I'm literally allowed to go outside. We're supposed to be socially distancing. So I'm sure you don't play by the rules. You didn't order like a Peloton, did you? They cost like $2,000. I have this one friend who has quite a bit of money. And he like posts about his Peloton rides. It's really annoying. Yeah, he wants to be Mr. Cool. He has like 2 businesses. Posts about his Peloton. It does seem ridiculous. It's like spending $2,000 or euros or pounds on a bike. I know that it's like attached to a monitor and a computer and whatever. But that's like the cheaper ones. That's like the bottom of the line. I thought you would buy a Peloton though, Bob. It would give you a chance to support a sexist company. Throw your support behind them. Yeah, they were criticized really heavily for their ad campaign. You don't know about that? Should look into it. They had a really sexist ad campaign. Definitely something you should get into. Alright, guys. Man, I'm going to have to get lunch. Getting hungry. The thing is, if I do play more WoW, You know the game could be over quickly. He plays so fast. It's like a blitz game with him is like a bullet game against a normal player. Maybe we could get it in time. I really have to go at 115. I'll berserk. But Stefanos doesn't really have much compensation here for being down in exchange. Plus there's a mutual open file. This is really not good news because I have 2 rooks. King f2, maybe he can, yeah, survive a bit. Alright. Just gonna play very quickly. I'm not gonna play f4, he's too good. So what? e3? Wait, didn't I do this once against Marwan and get thrashed? If he's not here, we're just gonna leave. Queen's Indian attack. Hippo variation. Almost picked up my whole queen side. You can do the hippo versus everything. He actually didn't think long enough there. Missed a really strong move. I'm not sure he should exchange that there. That there piece. Though this is risky for both sides. Objectively equal. He may start trying to play for a win in a worse position here, which I always appreciate. I have a pass pawn, man. Maybe he's playing fast for my sake, but he does that anyway. This is a truly strong position for white. The goal, I guess, is to play as fast as humanly possible. Technical position. His rook is stuck in front of his pawn, which isn't great. The end game. All right, I'll see you guys later. So we're going to be back Thursday night, 6:30 p.m. with game analysis. Remember to use your time. So from the Panda myself, be safe, guys. Take care. Don't forget, social distancing. Stay away from Bob. Bye-bye.